Hi everyone, I'm Stan Mallow. Welcome to Paranormal Yakker. My guest on today's show is Constance Victoria Briggs. She's a metaphysical, spiritual, cosmic researcher and writer. I'll be talking with her about her book, Earth's Galactic History and its Extraterrestrial Connection. Constance Victoria Briggs, welcome to Paranormal Yakker.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Stan.
In Earth's galactic history, you, Constance, examine current research, theories, and evidence linking Earth and extraterrestrials, past and present. I'll now ask you about some of the topics you cover in the book. To begin with, was our planet Earth terraformed by advanced extraterrestrials?
It is my opinion that could have been what happened in the beginning. I say that because our scientists, even though we don't hear a lot about this in the mainstream, but our scientists have basically said that they don't know how life came to be here. And they have said it's a problem. It's a problem that they don't have the real answer. Everything is theory. So I decided this could be something that happened not only to Earth, but other planets in the galaxy.
What evidence, Constance, has your research uncovered of humans being visited by beings from other worlds?
If we go back to our ancient times and we look at ancient writings and ancient tales, and even things like cave art, we have stories of people coming from the sky. We have stories of people coming in. They didn't call them ships, but we have drawings and stories of people coming out in on strange lights and strange vehicles and things like this, things that we would call UFOs today. We also have evidence in the writings of people coming out of these vehicles. I even came across a case once where someone was taking into a contraption and taking back into the stars like a contactee in ancient times. We have all of this evidence from our past, just like we have about other things from our past. Mainstream tends to ignore this part of it, but it's there. And in my book, I talk about those stories of the writings and texts and pictures, but I also go into detail of what people call sky people and gods coming in and helping humanity to establish ourselves on Earth, learning how to live here, how to grow food, medicine, etc. In the scriptures, they're called angels, but there are a lot of words for these beings. But if you go back to some of the information I have put in the book and do your own research, you can come up with a lot of information that supports that we were visited in the past by beings that came to help us.
The idea that there was once a battle for Earth is explored. Could you elaborate on that battle?
One of my favorite things in this book are some of the stories from, especially from like the medieval times, of information that says that people, thousands of people, saw lights and shapes of images in the stars. They referred to them as shields used in battle. They didn't have a word for a UFO, but they were round and they were saucer shaped, so they referred to them as shields. They saw them in the sky along with lights, geometric shaped objects, battling, sometimes right over their towns. I put this in the book. It was fascinating for me because at one point, the thing is, they kept meticulous records throughout history for the future. The Romans and the Greeks were very careful about what they wrote down. So you have this stuff in great detail. And even in one news format that they wrote about these battles in the sky where they saw them and they heard them clashing. Some people ran out of their home. I think it was a battle going in the sky because someone, it's my speculation, was coming in to do something with humanity or humans. Who knows, to abduct them. In history, we have whole towns of people that have disappeared, right? Where did they go? So who knows what was going on? But that was an example of just one of the battles that apparently went on in the skies. And I'm not so sure that we're not hearing that today, because there have been strange sounds going on across the world for years, rumbling noises that we can't explain. And it reminds me of that time. I think that Earth is being protected by a federation out there, and that I do believe there are good ETs and nefarious ETs that causes harm. So there is a battle. And if I could say really quickly too, I think that there's also a battle for Earth from us because we are destroying the Earth. And I think that extraterrestrials have come in here, not in battle formation with lasers and some kind of weaponry, but here to educate us and to help us to understand that we're killing the Earth. So that's a different kind of battle for Earth.
You provide signs, signals, messages, and clues showing evidence that extraterrestrials are trying to communicate with humans and take us on a journey beneath the oceans where there is believed to be an extraterrestrial presence. Do we know where it's located and the reason they want to take humans there?
I do believe that we are visited by different kinds of extraterrestrials. Unfortunately, when we look at the media, we always see the gray aliens or the little green men that look like gray aliens. It's more than that. There are many groups of ETs, and we've been kept from this information. So some have come in and they have communicated directly with individuals. We call these contactees and experiencers. But some of them apparently can't come in the way others can because of, maybe their physical makeup or whatever. And they've tried to reach us through signs and signals. And one of my favorite signs, and some people don't understand that this is real, are the crop circles. In my book, I go into great detail about how these formations are. We're referring to them as formations. I'm using crop circles as an example. One of the signals, there was one that alien face holding a disc, and this in the disc, it was deciphered by scientists, and it said for us to beware of people bringing false gifts. That was a message from an ET group that apparently couldn't land, who used our crop fields for a message. My point is there are signs and signals out there that we're getting from extraterrestrials that don't have the means to come in, that are trying to reach us to help us. Those underneath the waters is becoming quite a complex situation. I'm actually working on a book on that. They are there. There are some signs of extraterrestrials in there, things that have been found in the waters, people that have been seen in the waters. But I will just say that we have evidence in history and in currently of people seeing lights in ships beneath the waters. Even Christopher Columbus saw them. They've been here for a long time. They're either here to make a home for themselves in the waters, maybe on their home world, they had to escape and they're more comfortable in water. But people have been seeing lights from flying airplanes, people standing on beach, people in cruisers, people on vacation, and the Navy radar of these odd objects going through. They are here for a reason, either to make a home here or either to monitor Earth or maybe both. I'm convinced that there is more than one kind of intelligent humanoid being in the oceans. From the research, people have seen these people. They've even seen swimmers outside of these ET-like submarines. As recently as a couple of months ago in Puerto Rico, there's fishermen who saw lights and they saw a swimmer alongside this light. So they're there.
And why do they want to take humans there? Because I would have thought they'd want to keep it secret. They don't want to be exposed. But you say they are taking humans there. What's the reason for doing that?
We're taking humans there. There was one case where a lady was taken out of, I believe it was Africa, and she was shown the ship. They let her know that they existed. They were just giving her information to possibly come back and tell us. There was a couple actually of contactees who went on a UFO. They were invited to go, and they went into the water. They went into a cave area, and they came out into a city. And I believe that that was to let us know that they're there, that they're not here to hurt us, and they haven't, and that they would like to eventually make contact. I believe that we are experiencing a kind of convergence that is going on with the galactic beings, the beings under the ocean, and even in the hollow earth, that eventually we're all going to come together and know each other and be introduced. And I think that that's what they're working towards.
You've investigated the possibility that otherworldly beings may be residing inside inner Earth, in addition to them being in the waters. What did your investigation find about these alien beings being in inner Earth?
There are a few cases of people that have said they have visited inner Earth. And one of the gentlemen who went in with a group of people said they came across beings that were named the Deros and the Tiros. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hardly ever speak about that publicly. Now, these were beings that were, well, the Deros were the ones they met. The Tiros, I believe, were elsewhere. But these guys said they had been there since ancient times, since a worldwide deluge that had happened on the surface. They said that their people went into inner Earth to escape this catastrophe, and that when they got there, they found technology, but there was no one there. There was already technology there that apparently someone ages and ages ago had created and left down there and left the planet for whatever reason before the deluge. And they said this was already down there when they went down, and I guess Noah's Day or something, or biblical times. Way back then, they found these people. There are people down there with technology. Again, I am convinced that there are more than one civilization or group of people down there, because there was a gentleman by the name of Admiral Richard Byrd. Many people have heard of him. He was a decorated naval officer who was escorted in as he was flying over the North Pole. He was in that area, and he came across an area where they shouldn't have been there, of forestry and animals, etc. Even a woolly mammoth, he said to have seen. These two UFOs come up beside him, take over his plane remotely, and they escort him into inner Earth. And they tell him that they have been down there through 5 disasters on Earth. All the while, people on the surface were dying from these disasters. They kept continuing to advance and advance. And it's probable that they are one of the civilizations down there, of course, that have these UFOs that are coming out of the water that we see. But he told him to go back and tell the people of Earth that they're down there.
In your book, you delve into how extraterrestrials may be visiting Earth via stargates and portals using what you refer to as the cosmic highway. Where is this cosmic highway, and what are the dynamics involved regarding how the extraterrestrial beings use it to reach our planet?
I've read, I haven't talked to these people, but scientists are saying that there's just no way we're being visited by extraterrestrials. Even though we're seeing things in the sky all the time, they're saying we're not being visited by them. Okay, we are. So where are they coming from? How are they getting here? They're saying that they're not coming from out there because it's just too vast. It's too far to travel. It's too far to come. I'm no scientist. I'm just here to try to have a conversation and help people figure things out. The idea of stargates and portals and wormholes is not something that's new. Again, if we go back to ancient times, there is talk about people coming to Earth and even being, and how do they do it then if it's too vast? And also people going through what we called doors and caves with doors and openings that would open in front of people, like a Stargate, just like in the TV show. So it's a thing we don't understand, but I believe that it is located throughout the galaxy. And I believe, too, that there is order in our galaxy, because I've researched the idea of Federation. Someone is running the Stargates. They're just not out there willy-nilly. Someone created them. I believe that advanced extraterrestrials have figured out a way to use portals, stargates, and wormholes to visit Earth and other places in this universe and perhaps other universes. And like I said, we have ancient texts that talk about the gods coming and going through doorways. So they would disappear. It wasn't just ships coming in. People were walking through these things. People were transporting things. So there's a technology out there that can do it. So I named it the Cosmic Freeway or Cosmic Highway, whichever you like to call it. And also NASA has something on their website that talks about this whole idea that one day, maybe we will be able to traverse the universe via this kind of technology. We don't have it yet, but there are extraterrestrials, I'm sure, that are millennia ahead of us, that's already figured things out. And I think that there are worlds behind us just developing that are just starting out. We're somewhere, not even in the middle, but we're on our way, but we're talking about it too. Stargates and wormholes and portals. We're talking about it too. We just haven't got the technology yet to do it. Someone else beat us to it.
You, Constance, have examined the possibility that there are extraterrestrials living among us, who they are and what their goals may be when it comes to our planet Earth. So I ask you, what are the reasons you think ETs may be living among us? Who do you believe they are, and what might their goals be for us?
I believe ETs are living among us in many ways. It gets really complicated. So I believe that we have beings that we cannot see that come in here from other worlds. Maybe they have some sort of cloaking, or maybe they're just made in an ethereal way that they can be among us. And these may be what some of us feel like are the spirit guides. I believe that there are worlds that also have the technology to keep a person in stasis. It's going to get weird, Stan, to keep a person in stasis, and they are able to come here. And who knows, maybe they can even be born in. We call them born in. I don't know how that works, but maybe someone has a science to be able to have what we call the soul or astral body leave the body and occupy another body. But that gets heavy. But on a more simplistic scale, if you look at the Star Trek universe, which I love that show. I love everything about it. They always had people who were visiting planets, and they were in incognito, and they were there to monitor them. That's what I think is going on in various forms. I think ETs are here to monitor us, to keep track of us, to report back, to see what's going on here, and to try to help us. They, I believe, do have a kind of a prime directive where they're not supposed to directly interfere, but maybe they can nudge us a little bit, or maybe they can plant an idea for an invention or an idea to put that missile down. So yeah, I believe they're here to monitor us, help us. Some of them may be here for other reasons. There have been reports, resources maybe being taken from the Earth by extraterrestrials. I know that people have seen water being extracted from rivers with a UFO right there, and they're not hiding and taking water up. So maybe they're here for resources too. But you know, when you're talking about a galaxy full of life, we may even have extraterrestrials here doing field trips. They just may be improving their science and sending out ships like we would a class on a field trip just to come in here and see what Earth is like. There are many reasons why they're here, but I think the main one is that they would like to see Earth continue, and they would somehow like to find a way to help us before we destroy it and ourselves.
Extraordinary events believed to be related to extraterrestrials are revealed in Earth's galactic history. Can you, Constance, share one or two of them?
Extraordinary events, I talked a lot about. I don't want to get my books confused, my moon book and my Earth book, but there have been some events that happened in the stars, in the solar system, that I found fascinating. And I feel like when you look out to our moon, for example, one extraordinary event is that the moon itself lines up in an eclipse with the sun, and that is perfectly done. And it is, scientists said that this shouldn't happen, given the different sizes of each of them. When they line up, they look like they're perfectly placed. So it is believed that this was done perfectly by advanced extraterrestrials, or at a time when we were understood that this couldn't really be a coincidence, that someone out there did it, and that was created to help us understand that we're not alone in the universe when we matured to that point. So that's one side. I go into the astronauts. I know some people don't believe we went, but I believe we went to the moon. And I think that one extraordinary event is that if you look at the NASA missions from the Gemini and Mercury and Apollo missions, all of these guys out there, all of the astronauts were starting from the Earth, Gemini, Mercury to the Apollo missions were followed by extraterrestrials. And some of these missions heard voices. Even if you don't believe we went to the moon, The guys who were flying in our Earth's atmosphere first and moving out heard voices, heard weird languages, and were followed. So these events were related to us in the way that they were trying to tell us that we weren't alone, and they were trying to reach us, and they were trying to communicate with us. To me, those are extraordinary events.
Many people in the UFO, UAP, USO field believe there's an authoritative hierarchy within our galaxy that may include otherworldly federations and groups that are responsible for a galactic community. What, Constance, is your take on that?
So I believe that very much that the universe has order, the galaxy has an order, and that someone or some people are in charge. There is a history about extraterrestrials out there who were warring and who were doing nefarious things. And we have these examples of, things like the reptilian beings fighting others, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, my long story short, at some point, someone somewhere decided they needed order. Someone had to be in control. Just like on Earth, we have a government. There are hierarchies out there. One of them to prevent these kind of things from happening again and again and try to keep a handle on it. We don't have any idea if they do. Like I said, we've heard warring events in the sky. But someone out there, just like there's a Star Trek Federation, is trying to keep a handle on things. I don't believe that these worlds have UFOs just flying around, crashing into each other. I believe there are rules. One of them was interesting. I heard about this many, many years ago, like 25 years ago. I heard about a Galactic Federation. So I was standing in my kitchen one day a few years ago, and a lot of people know this story, but I find it fascinating, where an Israeli gentleman had written a book, and he had worked in the field where they were studying the stars, and he come across information on UFOs, etc. I'm forgetting his title, but he outed the Galactic Federation in his book. He had stated, it was a news broadcast, they were talking about his book, and he said that we had people, humans had people on the moon working with, Mars, working on Mars with extraterrestrials, but they were told not to tell us because we were not ready to know about the UFOs. I guess we're getting closer because we're seeing so many. He said they were called the Galactic Federation. This Galactic Federation, I think, does have a handle on the world. Who knows how many planets under their organization? But they are also, I think, calling the shots as to disclosure and first contact, what we call first contact on Earth. I think the ETs are calling the shots. I think that they are watching new worlds and that they are working, these federations are working with the advanced worlds and trying to keep some order. So I think they're out there. I don't think we're on our own. And that's a good thing because we would be running into each other. Yeah, I believe there are is a kind of ET federation or government out there that's in charge of things.
What has your research, Constance, found regarding current research into the UFO, UAP, USO phenomena?
So I think that we are being prepared for something big. I believe that from ancient times, the extraterrestrials walked among us and they taught us things, and then they pulled back. And possibly they pulled back to give us a chance to advance on our own or to see where we would go. The seeders of this planet probably, I'm just guessing, but asked them to pull back because for a long time, we did see UFOs throughout history, but today we're seeing more and more. And I think that's because they have always wanted, and probably all new worlds, they want to come into a galactic community. So today we're seeing the UFOs, the UAPs, if you want to call them that, more because what I called a convergence, that there's going to be a time where everyone on Earth will understand that we're not alone in the universe, that we are a part of something bigger, and I think they are preparing us for it. Now, I think too they might be speeding up the timeline because of humanity's craziness. They've been waiting for humans to mature and put down these nuclear weapons. We did begin to see more of them when the atomic bomb was created. They did come in more than before, but I think that's what they're trying to do when it comes to seeing all these UAPs out there. I think there are people that have been contacted. Why wouldn't they contact them directly if they could? We have rumors and stories of the government being approached by extraterrestrials that tried to talk to them, tried to make deals. They have contact people personally that they can trust to share information. They have what I call ground troops. I call them ground troops in here of people that are trying to get the information out to the masses that we're not alone and to not be afraid, but that something big is coming. So my research has said there's a grand plan. We're all a part of it, and we need to get ready.
You, Constance, have said it's your goal to investigate the mysteries of the universe and how they connect to humanity. From everything I know and read about you, you are succeeding in the fulfillment of that goal. What I'd like to know is, what was the driving force that led you to set that goal for yourself?
I wanted to be a part of this. To me, this is the biggest story of our lives. And I've always felt, if you will, a connection to the stars. I don't know quite how to explain it, but always a pull. At first, I thought it was a religious pull, but it wasn't. It was something else. And I feel like I want to be a part of helping people understand that we're not alone. We never have been alone, that there is someone out there working with us, that we have a greater goal, a greater mission, all of us, to our lives. I don't believe that it ends with our lives here on Earth. This is another book, another topic. But after we leave this planet, we continue on. There are people who have left the planet, but they're still involved in all of this. I kind of, this gets really heavy, but I kind of think that heaven is an ET world in a way. I think we go home, and this is another place, and we can return here many times as we want to help further the goals of the galaxy. Our spiritual, there's a UFO spiritual connection. There are worlds in the galaxy where people are ethereal, where I believe that maybe that's where our soul comes from, ethereal world, that we can inhabit these bodies and visit different worlds. So it's not that our work here will end. I wanted to be a part of it. I think we're all a part of it. But I also think that I will carry on this work after I'm gone, and so will other people. My point is, I hear people say, I don't think it will happen in my lifetime. Your lifetime really doesn't end here. You can carry on and visit other worlds. We're all part of the galaxy, if we're in this dimension or another dimension. I wanted to be a part of that. That's what I'm doing. I love it. I'm very at home with it, and I'm so comfortable and happy doing this work.
Should viewers of Paranormal Yakker want to buy Earth's galactic history and its extraterrestrial connection, and also learn about the other books you've authored, how, Constance, can they do that?
So there are two ways. The first way would be, of course, Amazon. Amazon has everything, right? You can go there. You can also go to Adventures Unlimited Press, where they have my books up and they talk about them. And you can go to my website, which is ConstanceVictoriaBriggs.com.
Constance Victoria Briggs, I thank you for being my guest on Paranormal Yakker. Yakking with you has been a most enjoyable experience.
Thank you. Me to you.
Hi, everyone. This is Stan Mallow, the Paranormal Yakker. I hope you enjoyed the interview you just watched. So that you don't miss any upcoming shows, be sure to subscribe to my free YouTube channel. To do that, just press the subscribe button on your screen.